guys, what's up? It's Cam back at you again. Today I'm going to be bringing you a quick lesson on how to play Steel Panther's Asian hooker solo. It's a very difficult solo. Well, it certainly was for me when I first started to learn it. It contains a few neoclassical passages and also some economy picking. But also what's really good about it as well is that it's great for getting some feel and vibrato on the go. Before we begin, I'm playing half step down, and also I'm going to be teaching the live version, which is something that's quite often disregarded because it is played different live. But nonetheless, let's get down to it. Right, okay then, let's take a look at the first part. We are going to be using the neck humbucker, and it is a neoclassical passage. Let's have a look at this. Right, okay then. Basically what that is, it's the same sequence in a bunch of different shapes. And it's a really cool thing to do, and it involves a lot of alternate picking. And let me show you the sequence, and then I'll show you the shapes. Then what you do is you apply that to the other different shapes. So the first one is 11, 12 and 14 on the high E string. Then you've got 10, 12 and 13 on the B string. Then you've got 12, 10 and 8. Then you've got 10, 8 and 7. And then put that all together. You've got to practice it slowly so you can get it clean. Etc. Anyway, we then go on to another tapping section, which is basically variations of one shape. You're tapping the 12th fret of the B string, and then you're hammering on and pulling off on the 5th fret and the 8th fret, and it should sound like this. You can do little variations and double taps in there with the right hand, so. And it's basically your fastest tapping ever, so you can really go for it on that lick. Anyway, before we move on to the famous sort of melodic sequences, we then do a little wild sort of bending part and vibrato part on the the B string, which is basically 17 and 19. You really go for with regard to vibrato on the first one, so you really go for it on the first one, and then there's like a little sort of half step kind of not weak, but sort of little mini bend on the 19th. So, and you go up quite slowly, really. Anyway, we then move on to the next part, which is the sort of the melodic sequences. We start off on the 8th on the G string. Then we go to 8, 9, and then we go back to 7 on the G string, the B string. Then we walk onto the B string entirely. And slide onto the 12th of the B. Back to 10. Then a little trill part here, if it's what it's called rather. Then you go back and slide to the B, the 12th again. Okay, and I'm going to play the whole sequence for you slowly before we move on to the next part. And make sure you get some vibrato in there as well. It really is your opportunity to go for it as a guitar player when it comes to vibrato on this solo. next part's a little bit of a fiddly one, really. It involves a little bit of sweep picking here. And it's a really, really nice little thing to do. It's a little sequence. It goes like this. It's quite a big stretch. You have your pinky on the 15th of the high E string, and your index finger on the 10th of the high E strings. Big stretch there. I think it's a 4th, that, if I remember correctly. No, yeah, it is a 4th. My bad. Anyway. So, upstroke. No, it's a downstroke. My bad. You pull off. And then with your rude finger, you're on the 12th fret of the B string. Let me show you the sequence slowly so you can see what I'm doing, and watch out for the sweep. So, and I'd really practice that one. That took me ages to work out. Then what we do is we descend into a little diminished sequence. So what you do there is to simply slide down the diminished scale, starting from the 12th and the 9th on the high E string, and then the 11th on the B string. Then resolve on the 19th fret of the high E string. You really give it some vibrato again, but not too much on this one because you might end up going out of key. Then what you do is you sort of stop the vibrato midway through to sort of resolve the whole problem, if you like, with the original note, if that makes sense. Then what you do is you stop and sort of weaken the vibrato a bit. Then do a little mini half step bend there. A little trill there as well. A really quick sort of full step bend there, which isn't really noticed, I don't think. You let that go, you don't let it down, you jump straight back onto the 15th fret of the G string there. Then some more trills coming your way. So I'd watch that back really slowly. One thing I must mention very quickly before we get ahead of ourselves: when you reach the high pitch bend, but way back, you actually change pickups back to the bridge pickup. Anyway, furthermore, we go back onto the same sequence again that we started with, only in different shapes. So it starts with 12, 14 and 15. Then an identical shape which we used before. Feels exactly the same, it's just on the 10th, the 12th and the 13th on the B string. So you go for like this. Stretch out a bit more, you then go 10, 12 and 14 on the high E string there. Then the same sort of shape again, only this time you're on 12th, 10 and then 8 on the B string. Yes. Then you go back to the same shape on the E string. Then you move back to 11, 9 and 7. So the whole thing slowly should sound like this. It's exactly the same sort of sequence, the neoclassical passage we used before. Some vibrato there on the last one. Then the next one, back to tapping again. You are hammering on and pulling off. This time you are on the 5th and the 7th. And it's where this time your tapping hand moves. So you start off on the 12th, do that twice, then twice on the 10th, then twice on the 8th. Then you do 3 times on the 8th. Then pull off, leaving just the 7th note remaining. Then slide out. Alright then, here's one very, very quick part, which is the end of the song, which a lot of people tend to miss out on, really. And it's a bunch of different arpeggios. We're going to be starting off on the 19th of the high E string. It's an E minor arpeggio here. Simple enough. You just upstroke, upstroke, then you just move down the different arpeggio shape. That's D major, C major, then C, that's B. People tend to get that right. But here's the part that really is fiddly. You're doing the whole sort of end sequence practically on one string, and it goes thusly. Etc, etc into the end of the song. So I'll play that slowly. Bit too fast that was. Pick scrape, E chord, end of the song. Cheers for watching, folks.